Good morning, Boker Tov. This week's Torah portion contains the second paragraph of the Shema. Last week's Torah portion contained the first paragraph of the Shema. Now we recite the Shema daily, morning and evening. And we start with the first paragraph, Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one, you shall love the Lord your God. Then we go to the second paragraph from this week's Torah portion. V'hayim Shemo, if you will obey and observe my commandments, then God will bless you. And then we go to the third paragraph of the Shema in our daily prayers. And what is that? The mitzvah of tzitzit, which comes from the book of Numbers in the Torah portion of Shalach. And the question is, why were these three paragraphs chosen to be our daily morning and evening recitation of the Shema? And the answer is that these three paragraphs represent the three steps to living a meaningful, purposeful life. Step number one is, hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. The first thing we need to have is faith. And not just faith, but love and appreciation and gratitude to God for all of our blessings. The second paragraph is the commandment to observe the mitzvot, to hearken and obey and listen to the commandments of God, which means live a life of observance of mitzvot, meaning a life of goodness, of righteousness, of justice, living a life of observing God's commandments, which enrich and enliven all of our lives with spirituality, with meaning, with connection to God. But then we come to the third paragraph. What is the third paragraph? The mitzvah of tzitzit. And what does it say? You shall see the tzitzit, the fringes on the talit or on the tzitzit, and remember all the commandments of God and observe them. And what the third paragraph is adding is something so crucial. You see, you could have faith in God, love of God. You could do all the good deeds, but it's only human nature that when you do something on a regular, ongoing basis, you start going through the motions by habit, by rote. You forget the meaning and the purpose in what you're doing. You just do it automatically. It's like when you get in your car. When you learned how to drive at age 16, let's say, you were concentrating and focused on everything you did. Now you get from point A to point B and you're on your phone and you don't even realize that you've gone through all the motions. You've turned on the car and put it into drive and pedals and brakes and blinkers, but you weren't even consciously aware of it. And therefore the Torah says it's not enough to have faith in God. It's not enough to do the mitzvot and be observant of God's commandments. But you have to have consciousness, you have to have mindfulness, you have to have awareness, and therefore see the tzitzit and remember how you're living and why you're living this way, and then perform them out of meaning, out of feeling. There's so many things we do automatically, and the Torah says, put your heart, put your mind into everything you're doing. It's a story told about this man on a Saturday morning. He gets up, and he wasn't Jewish, so he grabs his coffee, his newspaper, and he heads down to his office room in the house, in the basement, to read his paper and have his coffee. Then he turns on the radio, and there's a talk show going on, and he hears the announcer, the radio host, say to someone that you should live your life not just by hurrying and rushing through the days without any thought, without any feeling, but you should do it with intentionality. And he said, let me tell you a story. He said, when I was 55 years old, I realized that time is limited. And so I did some math. I said, the average person, let's say, lives 75 years. Some live longer, some less, but average person, 75 years, let's say. So I did the math. 52 weeks times 75 comes out to 3,900 weeks. I then said, I'm already 55 years old. So I did the math, and 55 times 52 weeks, I've already lived 2,800 weeks, which means I have 1,100 weeks left on average. So I went to the toy store, and I bought up all the marbles they have. And I then came home and put 1,100 marbles into a big jar. And he said, every weekend, I take out another marble from the jar, and by seeing the marbles go down in the jar, I realize that I have limited time and I have to make every moment meaningful. And therefore I make sure to spend quality time with my wife, with my children, with my grandchildren, to do things that are meaningful and purposeful in my life, not just to fleet away my days or to go running around just doing things by rote that I'm going to not get full satisfaction out of when my life is over. And the man said, today I just took out the last marble from the jar, which means that from now on I'm really going to appreciate every moment of my life, because I'm now on borrowed time that God has given me. The man heard this, put down his coffee and his newspaper, went upstairs to his wife and said, honey, let's go out for breakfast. Let's enjoy the morning together. And his wife said, what happened? All of a sudden, you want to take me out for breakfast? He said, yeah, we haven't done that for a while. And while we're out there, maybe we could stop by a toy store. Torah says, live a good life, have faith in God, do good deeds, but remember the mitzvot, remember Hashem, and live every moment fully, meaningfully, and joyfully. Have a wonderful day.